This is the story of Adanna, a young princess who took revenge for the death of her father, who was murdered by his younger brother Ilode. She was raised all alone by her mother, the queen, in a dark forest. She later became the king's concubine with the intention of killing the king and taking back her father's throne. Once upon a time, in a land filled with joy and happiness, there lived two brothers, King Ikedoba, who was the rightful king of Ibozulu Kingdom. He had a wife and a daughter whom he loved so much. He was loved by all the villagers and members of the cabinet. King Ikedoba ruled the land with so much love, peace and harmony. His brother Ilode was a farmer who was doing very well for himself but was never contented with what he had. He always had an eye on the king's throne. One day he visited a black witch who gave him a black magic knife that he would be using to stab the king to death. On the day of the king's usual Ofala celebration, Ilode danced straight to the king, and on pretending to hug him, he suddenly brought out a knife and stabbed the king to death. He killed anybody who tried to question and challenge his authority. Unknown to him, the queen fled into the dark forest with her daughter, Princess Adanna, where she raised the child to be a dancer. Many years later, when the princess has grown into a young woman, her mother narrated to her the story of her father's death, and in pain and anger, she swore to avenge the death of her father and set the villagers free from the hands of their wicked ruler. It was the season of the New Yam festival, and all the young girls in the land were expected to dance for the king against their will, after which he chooses the most beautiful of them to be his concubine. Adanna was so excited about the news because it would be of great advantage to her if she becomes the king's concubine. On the day of the celebration, the villagers gathered at the village square to witness the grand occasion. Adanna danced like no one has ever danced before. She danced the great Atilogo dance in a different attire as the villagers were clapping and cheering at her. At the end of the day, Adanna was declared winner and was chosen to become the king's concubine. At night, when everybody has retired to their various homes, Adanna brought a glass of wine to the king, urging him to drink it, after which they would have a great time together. While romancing him, she made sure that he drank the last drop of the wine. Few minutes later, the king was coughing uncontrollably as a result of the poison in the drink. "You poisoned my drink?" the king asked. "Yes, and I will kill you just like you killed my father," Adanna replied. She now revealed her true identity to the king and beheaded him. She put his head inside a black bag and sneaked out of the palace. She made her way into the dark forest where she lived with her mother. On getting closer to their house, the mother sighted her and ran out to embrace her daughter, who has been missing for a long time. "Where have you been, my daughter?" the queen asked. "From the palace, Mom." "Do you want them to kill you just like you killed your father?" the queen asked in fear. "No, Mom." She convinced her mother to calm down and explained to her how she was successful in carrying out her mission. "I hope he did not sleep with you," the queen asked in fear. "No, Mom, I only poisoned his drink," Adanna replied. The elders of the village gathered together to find out what happened to the king. They consulted the oracle, and it was revealed to them that the princess would be returning back to the village with her mother. And the oracle also instructed them that the princess should be crowned king because she has saved the land from the hands of a wicked ruler. Adanna returned to the palace with her mother, and both were given a grand welcoming. She was crowned king as the villagers were shouting, "Long live the king! Long live the king!" The land of Ibozulu lived happily ever after. The dead body of King Ilode was thrown into the evil forest to be fed by the vultures.